Hey guys, I wanted to do a little mini series with Typeform and how to set it up with a GraphQL server, but I realized I haven't showed you guys how to set up a TypeScript server yet. And so what I wanted to do was show you how I like to set up my TypeScript server now and basically create a boilerplate that I'll use for future projects and just something I can add on to and gradually be my base that I start on for all these things. So we're going to hold off on Typeform and we're going to come back to it. So I have a blank project right here in Visual Studio Code, and the first thing I'm going to do is just npm init to set this guy up, and then we're going to install some packages. So I really am enjoying GraphQL Yoga. So I tried this out with Prisma, and you don't even have to use it with Prisma if you don't want to, and that's what we're going to do. So you can set this up yourself. It uses, as it talks about here, Express and Apollo server underneath. You can set it up yourself, but I like the way GraphQL Yoga does it, so I'm going to just go ahead and use this. And I want to use TypeScript, so we're going to install tslint, and I really enjoy using this one right here because it works well with the plugin I use called Prettier. So tslint config Prettier, and then we're going to set up our project kind of how the TypeScript node starter does, and this is from Microsoft. So yeah, let's start installing stuff. So for dev dependencies, we'll install those first. This is pretty much what I want, except for not tslint React. And alright, that was fast. I'm going to go ahead and run npx tslint init to set up our file for linting. And I'm just going to copy that. So I want latest and then prettier. Oops. Okay, so now we're good on tslint. Let's go ahead and install GraphQL Yoga. So yarn add GraphQL Yoga. And before I can actually run this, we can create I'm going to create a directory called source, and that's where all our code's going to go. And I'll create index.typescript, and we need to set up a TypeScript config so that we can actually run this. So to do that, I'm going to copy the one that they use over here. And I liked some of the settings I have on this library that I created, so I'm going to basically merge these together. So I'm going to copy this and then remove some things and add some things to it. Okay. Oops, this is index. We want to create a TypeScript file. So tsconfig.json, paste it in there. It is called tsconfig, right? Yeah. So the things that we want to remove, and let's remove this from index. Okay, so I'm going to call this dist instead of lib because we're not using a library. I'm not removing comments is fine. I'm not sure how many of these checks I'm going to keep. I basically tried to make it as strict as possible, and I might remove the ones I don't like. Declaration I'm going to remove because I don't plan on making this into a library, at least not yet. We're not going to be using JSX, so we don't need that. And then we're going to be running this with Node. So Node can support ES6, so that's what I want my module. Actually, module is going to be, I think, Node. Module, no, they use common. Oh, they use common JS too. Okay. I was thinking I needed to set that to JSX, or not JSX, ES6, but no, we're actually fine. And then the module resolution, I want it to be Node. I think that's the only other thing I wanted to change. Source maps are fine. Oh, and I want to change what we have for lib. So take a look at GraphQL Yoga. They also use TypeScript. If we look at their TypeScript config, you'll notice they're using these things here. We're going to copy them. And we need this ESNext async iterable for GraphQL stuff. Apollo server, I think, needs it. Okay, so we should be able to compile TypeScript good now. I'm going to go ahead and copy this example here with GraphQL Yoga. and we're going to paste it into index.js. So using require, okay, we don't have to worry about that. And let's see what some of these warnings has. Type of any implicitly. Alright, so we have implicit type of any, so that means we have to, we'll say any, and it doesn't like console log, I assume. Oh yeah, in my tslint, I'm going to remove some of the rules that I have. I liked some of the rules that I got rid of over here. It has to do with like ordering and like, I think I kept console logs in because I didn't want those going through. But for this, I'm going to keep console logs. So let's turn that rule off. And I did not copy it correctly. No console. Okay. Alright, now we don't have any errors. So now I should be able to start this up and we should be able to compile this okay. Now what I could do is I could every time run tsc and compile this, and this will go ahead and generate a dist. And oh, did we forget to install something? Could not find a declaration file for ws. Try installing types. Okay. And I'm going to install this as a dev dependency at types. Oops. And I'm not sure if GraphQL Yoga was supposed to install that for us, but we're good now. So now it converted our code to JavaScript code, and then I could just run node dist index. And now it's running on localhost 4000, so I should be able to come over here and type hello, because that's the one we have. So hello, and we don't need any headers for this, so we'll get rid of that. And cool, so it executed the GraphQL for us. So we're good to go, but that was kind of annoying, right? So our configuration files are all good, but I don't want to type TypeScript and then node every time. So there's this package called tsnode, which is kind of like Babel node, which we'll go ahead and compile it to TypeScript and then run node on it. So what we're going to do is install that. So yarn add, and this is a dev dependency. And the other thing, so now I can run npx tsnode, and I can say source index TypeScript. So now I don't even have to worry about compiling it. It's just good to go and it's up and running. Now what I want also is when I make changes, so let's say I want to say hello with a lowercase h, I want this to recompile. If you've watched some of my other videos, you know I like to use no daemon, or I always forget how to pronounce it, but that's how I like to say it. And this will go ahead and restart the server for us every time we make changes in our code. And I'm going to go ahead and change in our package.json, create a start. So we're going to say node daemon, and we need to tell it to run tsnode on source/index.typescript. Alright, so npm start. So now when I make any changes, hopefully it'll go ahead and restart for us. So I should see a lowercase h here. I do. Now if I add that, another h in front, notice how it restarts it, and we should be good to go now. And we got two h's, so perfect. So this is a very simple setup, but we got TypeScript, tslint, and GraphQL Yoga set up. So now from this base, we can start adding things to it. So this is a good beginner boilerplate, and I'm going to add more things onto this. The next thing I want to start doing is Typeworm, so stay tuned for that. That's all for this video, guys. See you later.